We had one lady that said don't call her until her husband is dead. And she meant that shit. And then we didn't know in the beginning that she meant that shit until we actually seen that she meant that shit. That man had a cardiac arrest and they was able to save him. Of course, you know, you call, supposed to let the family know such and such is going on. When that motherfucker came back, she was pissed. Don't call me unless this motherfucker is dead. One of the CNAs was like, I don't mean to cry, but you know, what happened? She was like, honey, that motherfucker beat me for 30-some years for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because he thought I was cheating on him. And he was the one that had 2 outside families. 2, not 1, but 2. She was like, don't call me, call his kids. Call his kids, don't call me unless that motherfucker is dead. And we just sat there like, We had one lady used to come and visit her husband. She was still married to the man. He stroked out and everything. Dogged her out her whole fucking life. Got with her when she was young. That's why men say they want them a younger woman so they can take care of them when they get older. She popped his ass in here and moved on with her life. She was like, oh, honey, I still got life to live. Her boyfriend used to wait at the front for her. I'm just going to go in and just look at him real quick. Keep it up. Keep it up. Somebody said, well, where do they take the bodies? Where does the bodies go? The city got to come and pick them up. You ain't got no funeral services. The city got to come and get you. The city got to come and get you. See, y'all in this, oh, I want this shit right now. But yeah. Keep it up. The way you go out, baby, we'll be talking about you. Just like I'm talking about them men right now. It's horrible. Horrible. Keep it up.
But wait! There's more!
Just imagine a life where you treated everyone like trash, then need someone to wipe your ass in old age and no one signing up to do it. When I generally saw the men in the nursing homes and in hospice and in these medical institutions, they were alone. When you did see their family coming around, they were saying, just call us when he passed. Because they said that the person was no good. Like, they did not treat their wives, their girlfriends, their kids, even the men that had boyfriends, their friends. They didn't treat these people with any dignity and respect. So when they got up in old age, nobody wanted to deal with them. Just imagine being an old, lonely person and nobody feel like your company is worth keeping because you've been such a horrible person. Usually when I seen these men that were alone up in old age, nobody coming to visit them, even if they weren't in these medical institutions, even if they lived on their own, nobody come to visit them, it's because they weren't good people. They were not kind. It's sad.
Good evening, beautiful people. So, as a nurse and a female, I do want to touch on the fact that a lot of older males are in a nursing home and they don't have people visiting them. They don't have any children that are stepping in. Their girlfriends are not there or their ex-wives are not there. Why? Because they have tremendously destroyed those relationships by being selfish and inconsiderate throughout their lives, through their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and then 70s they're bedridden and had a stroke, and they wondering why nobody's visiting them. Because you sowed bad seeds and you're reaping. You planted bad seeds. And you expect somebody to show up for you now that you're sick, now that you're bedridden with bed sores, now that you need somebody, when you abuse the people that you had and tried to love you for you. Life don't work like that. You have to put in to get something out. The issue is a lot of people try to get something for nothing, but when you try to get something for nothing, you end up with nothing in the end. Because if you go into a relationship undermining someone's value, guess what? Over time, they're going to see that and they're going to be gone. Same thing with children. If you want to come back into your child's life, now that they're older and now you don't have to contribute to their lives because they no longer need you, but you want to be around so they can take care of you in your old age, no. They're going to be gone too. We do not sympathize with you because you have wasted your entire life being selfish. That's what selfishness leads to. There is no benefit to it. The only thing you're doing is setting up a life of hardship in the end. And you're about to suffer because you made other people suffer. That's why you need to think when you're young. You need to pour into people. You need to love the people around you. You need to support that woman that's taking care of your kids. You need to take care of your kids. Because if you do not, who's about to take care of you? Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Nobody. Because you sowed bad seeds. I rest my case. On a positive note, it's beautiful here in Yosemite, guys. I mean, the mountains are mountaining, the snow is snowing, the rivers are rivering and flowing down the bank. So that's today's lesson.
I just want to finish up here with these two clips. I want to finish up because I feel a certain way. You know, I feel a certain way about what was said in these two clips and shit. I've done two previous installments of what I call Nurse Nothing 2025 edition and whatnot. And this will be the third part and shit. Probably not the final part and shit. Before I get started and shit, I would like to talk about inhumane cruelty, the inhumane cruelty and unprofessionalism of, you know, these women that allegedly work in these nursing homes and shit, that post these TikTok videos. You know, they do this simply to antagonize an invisible. You know, they're invisible victims and shit, all right? We are certainly here. You can hear my motherfucking voice. Now, I like to say that I am 56 years of age. I am not currently in a nursing home, thank God. All right? And listen to this bullshit. I'd rather be in a nursing home full of racist white women. I'd rather be there. It's be the same treatment and shit. It's not looking at a face that looks like yours and shit. You know, I listen to these women talking, and I have like I'm getting that whole kind of the Bernie Mac thing from that Wayans brother movie. He was the black hating cop and shit. You know, and then I'm thinking about the actual scene from Boys in the Hood where, Cuba Gooding Jr. was confronted by the black cop who said he hated him because he was black, and the motherfucker was blacker than him and shit. And we have these women that are working in the medical profession, the nursing profession, or CNA or whatever, the medical assistant, whatever the fuck they call themselves. And they're obviously just there for money, okay? They have no true skill, but they learned enough to be in the medical field and shit. And they're being unprofessional. They're getting online. They're exposing how they truly feel and shit. And I feel like there's no consequences for this shit. It doesn't matter what the fuck they're talking about and shit. It does not fucking matter and shit. But if I would know where they work this shit, I would forward these clips to the human resources department, okay? Or I would find a way to make sure they catch some hot fire in their motherfucking asses and shit, because nobody want to hear this shit, okay? We want to tell you black women this is not a flex, okay? I'm talking about you motherfuckers who are misandrous women, okay? Misandrous are women that hate men. But in our community, everything is dialed the fuck up. You know, it's a square root. All right? It's amplified. So, I want you people outside the community, listen to these goddamn, TikTok clips and imagine how the men in this supposed ethnic community feel having to listen to this shit every motherfucking day of our lives. Cross generations and shit. You look at the older men in the family, they usually, a lot of them just sitting there mute, you know, hopefully looking at a TV, or they got some kind of creature comfort or something to do. So idle hands are the devil's playground and shit. And the devil be up in the nursing home shit, fucking with old people and shit, okay? Can you imagine how we feel dealing with their hatred, their overt hatred, their racism, their bigotry along gender lines? Can you imagine what that's like, dealing with that shit every day? So much so, in my case anyway, so much so that it almost makes them lemmings and shit, okay? It's like shooting fish in a barrel, because they're so bigoted and racist along gender lines, hating their very men, you know, that if there wasn't no black men around, they wouldn't fucking exist in any respect, okay? You consider that fucking hatred and shit. Consider how we feel listening to shit every day, in and out of this bitch. And consider the pervasive gaslighting that goes on in our community and shit, where they tell us we ain't shit, and then they say, you don't marry us, you don't love us, you don't want to have babies with us and shit, you know, you this and that other, you don't trust us, you don't want to just blindly get into a codependent situation with us and shit. You know, I just think about this shit, you know, because in my situation, you know, a lot of these chicks are morons. They're morons. They can't see me. Their bigotry makes me invisible. I like to fuck in that movie The Shadow and shit. They don't know. I'm sitting here listening to this out of pocket shit. These motherfuckers talk out of the corner of their mouth and shit. I feel a certain way. I can't talk about domestic discipline and shit, but god damn it. Make you wish like you had Thor's hammer and shit, just tap on the back of their the pink noggins, the empty noggins full of cartilage and shit. You know, and tell her, hey, you know, I can see you, bitch. Okay? Now I'm listening to these women, I don't understand what their end goal is and shit. You just want to get online and talk about the miserable things that you saw at work and shit if you hate your job so bad. Why talk about it in a TikTok video and shit? You obviously have nothing else better to fucking do and shit. I mean, what's the umpteenth million time you can make a makeup video or a try-on haul and shit or clap your ass and shit? You know what? So what else do you have? You know? Well, I'm thinking this shit. Oh, okay, Anthony, we know you hate us and we know you want to kill us yourself. And I get the impression these two women and the women in the other two videos, separate videos I did, you know, they wish they could get their lick in and shit on anybody as long as it's black and it has a penis. They probably want to put a pillow on this motherfucker's face and put something in his cup. Or stick something in his IV and shit. I wouldn't trust these women and shit, okay? If I'm telling you, moral responsibility would tell me if I knew where they worked and shit, I'll forward these clips to their goddamn HR department. Don't you think this is unprofessional? You gonna let them still work there and shit? I'll make the residents of that old folks home, including white people too, aware of these women, their behavior, and their actual feelings about what they do for a living. My mom was a nurse. All of my whole fucking life, she was a nurse, man. Okay? Nurse, high-ranking nurse, okay? Put it that way. At one point during my childhood, growing up and shit, my middle years, my formative years, I guess, she had taken extra work at a nursing home, all right? And she worked there for a while. She would work there when she wasn't working at the hospital. And she eventually left that job because she couldn't take it anymore. She couldn't take the environment anymore. And I understand that. I'm looking at these sisters and I'm just like, hey, don't you have anything else you can do that makes you happy and shit that doesn't involve fucking with black men on a daily basis or looking at them doing the slow burn? You think some motherfucker laying up in the old folks home with no visitors and shit, you know, just chilling? Do you think that he want to look over and see you glaring at his ass and shit or coming there? You know, he probably laughing his ass off and every time you change his bedpan or you change his fucking diaper, you wipe his ass. That's your job, okay? You hate your job, but your job is to wipe a black man's ass and shit. And you hate it. Because that's the only way you can make money besides selling your cooch and shit. And nobody probably wants that. And it's probably bombed out anyway. Now I'm disgusted, man. I'm tired of these. You know, I hate it. I have a special kind of disdain and hatred for a caregiver. A caregiver, goddamn. You have to go to school for that shit. Multiple years of school. If you're going to be a proper medical, you know, in a medical profession. A caregiver that has a disdain for the human condition. Like, why are you there? There's other people that can work that job. They need compassionate people that give a fuck. And I understand you see that shit every motherfucking day. And you need to manage your resources and shit and take time off and shit. Take leaves of absences until you feel better and shit. I'm not telling you how to do your motherfucking job. But don't nobody want to be laying up in that shit looking at your fucking face and shit. How does these old motherfuckers know how you feel and they wish they could whoop your ass? I bet you these old dudes you laughing at because they don't have no visitors. They seem like they're miserable. I bet they wish they could get out that motherfucking bed with that diaper on and shit and that roll with their ass out and drag that IV over and whoop your ass, bang your ass up with that fucking IV in their hand like a baseball bat. Now I'm disgusted. I hate people that abuse elders and children. I don't like it. That shit happened to my father. Okay? They put him in there so that they could abuse and take his life. And take his shit. And fuck his kids. Okay? Fuck the boys. Only the boys out of his legacy. So what? For a fucking Birkin bag. That's the kind of shit I fucking hate. To see this shit, it triggered me. It triggered me. I feel like saying some fucked up shit to your ass right now. All to your ass. And the bitch in the other 2 episodes too. Yo, make me sick. You're a disgrace. You're a disgrace. You're not human. I'm tired of this shit. You motherfuckers need therapy. Okay, you don't need to be working in the medical profession. Okay, you don't need to be working around people at the twilight of their fucking life. And you don't know how these motherfuckers really feel. They might be happy that their ass ain't got no motherfucking visitors from their people, okay? They give their life to this family and shit. Even if they ain't in the motherfucker, they gotta pay that shit. They gotta give their time and energy and take nothing, get no grace, get shitted on. They gotta hurry up and die. You know, when you in there, you see those women with their motherfucking kids, the supposed great kids of these men, you know, hanging out around the bed, looking at their phone, you know, turning this motherfucking TV away from the game to say stories and shit. They ain't in there to see his ass. The men that actually, the people that get visitors, they waiting for them to die. They keep going back there to see if they're near death so they can bum rush the probate court and shit and get that ducats and waste that generational wealth. They're not there. They don't love them. Okay, the bitches that you see in there visiting their grandparents and shit. So it ain't about nobody being a rolling stone. It ain't about somebody mistreating somebody in their life. And it's none of your goddamn business, okay? Okay? It's none of your goddamn business. You can go to hell. Okay? That those who are without sin, you know, throw the first stone in a glass house. Telling you don't know nobody's life story. You know, I myself, as I should find myself in there when these old folks home, laid up like my dad was. I feel happy, you know, I can find some solace in that. I know no one will be there other than one of my children, okay? Because the rest are irredeemable. They're non-human. You are non-human. You are irredeemable. You are not a caregiver of shit, okay? You just came there for your ducats. You feel the same way about providing care to elderly people that a prostitute feels about laying up with Johns and shit and cracking in and busting that pussy open and shit. Maybe you should pursue that. Maybe you'll feel better. Okay? You don't need to be in this profession and shit. You know, it's all about a delicate work-life balance when you're in the medical profession and shit, okay? Because that shit can get, you know, it can get sketchy and shit, emotionally and spiritually speaking. But this does not include you, because you are you women are cruel, nasty, and inhuman and shit, okay? And you deserve to be fucking fired for making these goddamn videos and shit. And you need to be blacklisted from this shit, okay? You need to be blacklisted. I wouldn't let you sweep up. I wouldn't let you push a broom in the old folks' home. I wouldn't let you push a broom and shit. I thought about that shit. You know, I sat down and I thought about it. I knew I was going to make this video and shit. I just didn't know how it was going to come out. I'm losing my shit because I'm thinking about my father and how he had done so much in his life and struggled and achieved the American dream and had that nuclear family, and how that shit went tits up with you sisters. How that shit ended up going tits up. Family destroyed. Family destroyed. I am the last of my kind. And that shit was heralded in by women with your fucking attitude and shit. Your inhumane, demonic attitude. And I excoriate your ass, okay? You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Fuck you. I'm done.
The Black Patriarchy. A non-existent group of fictional black male power brokers not discredited, erroneously jailed or outright killed by the minority majority who look the other way as they work tirelessly to shame, oppress, and outright take out the altruistic black female populace of the honorable democratic United States of America. 3K's inset bitches. These evil wealthy members of the black patriarchy are the sole reason for all the ills of the black community, walking, talking, holding down jobs, and doing everything up to and including giving their very lives in service to their baby mamas and baby's motherfucking kids. Their motto that strikes fear into the hearts of black women everywhere: bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.